Welcome back, South Philly Sauce, an Audacy original brought to you by 94 WAP and Jack Daniels. Ashlyn, Sullivan, Al Morganti here with you. Hockey season starts in 3 weeks. We're coming off training camp starting. We're coming off media day. Boys back in town. When it starts, it really starts. It's been fast. It's been every day. Media day was awesome. Getting to talk to some of the new guys, Vladar, Zegras, having talk it, just walk around and check in on everyone. And it's good to see everybody after a long couple of months not being with the team, and everyone just excited, genuinely excited to get going. The addition of Zegras, I think, was the biggest impression of me off media day, how excited everyone is. But it's kind of like this unsung pressure out talking to TK, talking to Coots, knowing they're the old guys now, quote unquote, and the pressure, like, we got to get this done eventually, especially for Coots. He was honest. He's like, I don't know how much longer I got here.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting combination here of a middle. It's kind of almost like college. They've got some freshmen, some sophomores, some post-grad, I guess you would call Coots, going in. But it's a really interesting group coming in. And, of course, with a new coach, it's always, he was out there with a shovel cleaning the ice. Yeah, it's the first day of ice there, first day there. It's I know John Tortorella was named to Team USA. I texted him. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to miss the rope.
Yesterday would have been the rope day.
The rope wouldn't have been allowed anymore anyway. They've changed all the rules. I'm kind of glad some of this stuff has happened. Like, the Islanders sent out pictures since Lou Lamoriello's gone. They're all running around like, mountain men with beards and stuff. So because they had to change all the rules on the island. So things happen quickly in the NHL. But it's really interesting with the Flyers. The veteran group, I guess TK's a star player, Sanheim's a star player, Coots is a veteran. He was teaching, Zegras some face-off stuff. But to me, I look at this team and I look at their, I call them the cool kids, right? The Drysdale, York, and Zegras. And I think in each in their own way, Ashlyn, I think you'll sense the same thing, as sort of on a hot seat or a prove it kind of a situation coming in. Like, I mean, you're not young very long in this league. Within 2-3 years, it's like, you just think about it. You got a guy that comes in, it's like, okay, Forster, right? Learning the ropes. All of a sudden now, oh no, we're counting on him, penciling these. No, you know what? Don't even pencil him in. Put it in an ink pen. We need this. We need this from Forster. But those kids, those Drysdale, Zegras, York, I think those are the key to if this team is going to outperform what a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I think especially it's interesting when you put Zegras in that group because he is new, but talking to Zegras, and the biggest impression, he's awesome to talk to. He's got an insane personality. He's going to fit in so well here in Philadelphia. And it's just like what hockey needs more of, is he's very into social media and showcasing hockey and the personality of this. So I think that's going to be awesome for Philly, but very aware of what people are saying about him outside of the rink, just nationally, the NHL, that this was this guy with insane talent, but frankly hasn't lived up to it. And he's like, I see this opportunity in Philadelphia to rewrite my story. Obviously he has the talent, but it hasn't been consistent. So when you text me, we were talking about this, I was like, wow, we're really going to put Zegras in this? But I'm like, yeah, you do have to put Zegras in this.
You do, and that's what I mean about like a hot seat. But I like it when guys acknowledge it. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to just put my head down, skate hard, do this. But he's acknowledged the expectations. Now, this kid in a very short period of time has gone from like a literally cover boy to a NHL game to like getting traded. And not only that, in the rumors for being traded for so long, because it just wasn't working out. Now, sometimes you just need a change or whatever. But I find it really interesting to have a guy like this, because he, on the one side, you mentioned all the social media stuff. He's a good-looking kid.
We'll get some online gigs. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got better hair than Taryn Hatcher. Not easy.
That is him.
But on the other hand, he hasn't. It's still the main focus is the hockey. To be that player, to accept that challenge, to accept being on that hot seat, that I have to take the next step here. It was really interesting that, talking to Couturier, he actually like saw some of his moves on video games or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they all have to learn this face-off dot if they're going to be centers, and we see what happens there. Their lack of right-hand shots in that area, their inability to win in a face-off, to win the face-off on a power play. So like but he's up for it, and wants to be that. The cliche is a sponge to take everything in, and I think that's really important. It's one thing to have somebody that's all like into the social stuff and it's good. It really brings the fans in, but the main focus has to be what's on the ice, the product you have there, and the work you have to put in to kind of excel. And I really like the fact that he's not shying away from expectations that have come with this. And I do think it's going to help that he's with guys that there's sort of a crew that gets along. And
they're very honest that they are best buddies. They are right at the hip, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's a good thing to have that situation come in, to have somebody to have your six all the time with whatever's going on. But it's more important that they push each other to perform to that level. And he, to me, is one of the big reasons that people are going to have, if this team's going to break through a barrier this year. Man, if he can rekindle all of that potential, all of that star stuff that he had early, minus the Michigan and stuff, all that's fine. That's secondary stuff. But just to work at it and be the team leader that he is, I'm hoping, and I do think Taka will get the most out of this kid. He's a pretty good communicator, which I think a lot of people misread when they hired Rick Taka. It was like, here's another ex-Fly or whatever, but he's a terrific communicator. And he's also a terrific guy at giving assistant coaches a specific role to bring the best out of certain players. And I think Zegras is going to be a guy that's really going to benefit from this. And I hope so, because if he doesn't get to 90% of what I hope, I think the team's going to struggle. There's big expectations on him, and he's willingly taking on those expectations.
Yeah, and it was funny. He almost basically broke news, but I don't even know how much news it is now. He comes and sits down with us. We're the last stop on media day. There's 13 stations and we're 13. So they were very excited to talk to me by station 13. And I was just asking him about the day. He's like, yeah, for the Jumbotron, for the video board, they're having me do a lot of face-off poses. I was like, oh, so we think centerman. He's like, yeah, I've really been working with Coots. Coots is helping me a ton. So it basically seems like he's center and with the ability to bump out if he needs to be. But from what he's been telling me, they know that's where they want him, which I think is awesome to go into camp knowing that.
Yeah, and it also tells you that they have great trust that he can do it, because that, we've seen it. How many guys have come in and couldn't play center, which is why Cates has been such a success story to come in and move to that position. And that's why you look at a guy like Michkov. It's like, why is he playing with Coots at times? Because it seems like that doesn't seem logical with the kind of player that Michkov is. But Couturier cleans things up and lets Michkov go places, at least for now. I think that'll change midway through the season. And Lord knows if Zegras can learn this and be good at this, that might be the power play combination that sort of unlocks things.
Yeah, it was interesting that he just went there and told us and I also liked that he came in here knowing, hey, if I'm going to do this well, I have to work with Coots on this, and being new to the team and putting in the extra work. And also speaks volumes of Coots to spend this much time. I mean, how many guys has he done this with now to try to get them to be successful under him?
Yeah, it's funny when you talk to Coots about it, I've covered Coots since he was like a kid coming in, and you don't want to make a big deal of it. But the thing you have to teach somebody is how to cheat.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing to do, because if you're up against the veteran on the other side, he's going to point it out. And you really have to be almost arrogant in a face-off circle to get that kind of leeway that you need to be that successful. And Couturier's got every trick you have. You can't just have the one. You have to block, do this, do that, leave a puck for somebody. There's like a million things going through. But mostly you have to have some sort of a plan. And that, in addition to on the ice, that takes a lot of studying off the ice of tendencies of people and stuff. So, and Coots is more than willing to. He's like a coach. He's like a coach out there, and he'll benefit too, because of all the people well, maybe he and Frost and whomever. I mean, it was tough for Couturier with Torts at the end. And I think part of it was he just wasn't used to it. And I don't know, not many people are used to a coach. Like, if you want communication, you know what it was like, Ashlyn. You had to go to Torts. The mountain wouldn't come to you. Well, this is a whole different situation. Now, Coots rightfully kind of is the mountain.
Yes, I encourage. So for our first week of Flyers pregame live, we're going to have an awesome conversation with Talkit for the first show. But the second show, we're airing the media day interview with Coots. And I was hesitant. I was like, do I go down this Torts road? Do I bring it up? I didn't have to. Coots took it upon himself to talk about how different this feels, the communication style, how it much more favors him as a player. He said he's already sat down and had coffee with Talkit twice this summer. It's like that never has happened here before. I didn't need to ask. He went there.
Oh, yeah. It's why I didn't quite understand a lot of the criticism. It's like, I still don't get that nobody quite understood how good a communicator he was with that Vancouver team that was dysfunctional at so many levels and had a front office that had, so many leaks. I'm surprised the boat didn't sink. And Talk they really performed pretty calmly considering all of that stuff that was going on there. I'm curious what happens over there with him gone. I thought he did a great job of kind of keeping that locker room as together as it could be, because there was a lot of stuff going on there. And coming to Philly after being in Vancouver, even Torts, I mean, he went through hell in Vancouver, and it was hard to deal with, especially Torts being American. It was really hard. But, Talkit now, that's a crazy, crazy market. I think this is going to be a much smoother ride in terms of, and with the team's expectations, obviously. So it'll be great. I mean, I think the fans are going to like all of what's going on here. But I'm not sure how it's going to manifest in points. With the playoff drive. I like the fact that players are talking about playoffs. I think when the doors are closed, Ashlyn, they're talking about playoffs and they want to get there. But I think, as you saw with Danny's news conference before, and how smooth is that guy to come in and like, well, we still got this and that. And people are talking about the trade deadline already. And, Danny's so smooth. Somehow he gets the new promotion brick by brick in to kind of puts right into his interview. So he's kind of talking that game. But I think if you put that truth serum in it, it's like, man, they really, really want to get to that postseason.
Yeah, I have the funniest story about the brick by brick. So at that point, in media day, we didn't know the slogan this year was going to be brick by brick. Like, I kept hearing about bricks, and I was like, all right, like, this is obviously important. Sit down with Zegras. They had just come out of their first team meeting, the whole team together. And I was like, Trevor, like, what was the meeting like? He's like, like, they kept talking about a brick for some reason, like something important about a brick. I was like, oh, so like the message really stuck with you. He's like, yeah, something about a brick. And then sure enough, the next day, like, the whole saying is brick by brick, brick by.
Yeah, I saw the same. Like, Danny's talking, he's going brick by brick. I'm what?
Just to hear from the player side, like, something about a brick. All righty, good, it's stuck.
We got it. We'll have to see how many times we can get it in a broadcast. Oh
my God, it was so funny. The next day I saw like the whole like video unveiling brick by brick, and I was like, something about a brick. All right.
We'll bring bricks on the set for the first
so good. Show. Cam York, talk about pressure. I mean, Danny Briere didn't throw him under the bus, but I always applaud Danny's honesty. I think it's the best thing about him, that you know exactly where you stand with him. For Danny Briere to say we need Cam York to be the Cam York 2 seasons ago, message loud and clear. Cam reached that potential, and it was the best thing and worst thing that could have happened to him, because now we know what he can do, and he hasn't done it consistently.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre to look, but when you look at progress of defensemen, it's like a blade of a saw. It goes up and down for a lot of young players. But I think with York, what's really confusing is he became a much better defender. And Torts, for whatever problems he had with him, would always point out, man, he's a much better defender than I thought. But but there's so much more to that game. And I think that's what Danny's trying to say. It's like, he's got a much higher ceiling. So that's what you want to see. Now, how much of this will play in because of the change of a coach? Nobody knows. I mean, I don't even think he knows what goes on. But I do think the comfort level, and we mentioned it with Zegras, with Drysdale, I think that's going to help. And I think putting more on his plate is going to help. Before last year, I was with Tortorella in the off season, and he was talking about players. I said, York is a really important player in your locker room. And I said, he can be a real leader. And he goes, I wouldn't have believed that a year ago, but now I believe what you're saying. And then it all blew apart here because I think he was trying to draw more of that out. And York is a guy that he's a confident player, but I think he needs to be. I think he's one of those guys that needs tires pumped up a little bit. And I think that was lacking in what went on. And I also think when you looked at it, I mean, God knows they had more combinations on the power play than you can imagine. I mean, it was just not throwing numbers in a hat, it seemed like at times. But I didn't think he got enough of a chance at that. And I think it's going to be more important. So you can't lose any of the defense that he's had. He certainly has become a pretty good defender, better than a lot of people thought. But they want to bring a little more out in his offensive game, I think. And Danny, I think, is throwing a challenge. And York, to me, is a guy that can handle that challenge. He's if for a young guy to kind of sound stupid, but to have those problems with Tortorella, there's some stuff there to be able to do that. And that's got to show up on the ice now for York. And he's a big part of this. Because if it doesn't work out now, he won't be. He's got a contract that's, he got to get paid.
Yeah.
He didn't get paid crazy, so he's movable. And so it's a big year for him to make a statement. He's going to be a big part of this going forward.
Yeah, he needs to be. And so does Jamie Drysdale. And that's the biggest question mark for Jamie. Again, we've seen spurts, not as big and loud as Cam York, I think. Frankly, it's been underwhelming for Jamie. The Cutter Gauthier game, we thought we had it. That was an insane game from Jamie. He showed up in the moment. But when you think about big moments for Jamie, that's the one I can think about. And
yeah. Went through injury situations, had the hip, and then we saw what he could really do, and it looked like he was healthier to be able to really move. Now, obviously, his skating, his edge work, all that stuff is so good. But I look at him, and that game against Anaheim was terrific. But if I look at him as a player, and I look at Hudson in Montreal, the smaller defenseman, and you look at what they do when they get in the offensive zone. Hudson, when he kind of goes in, looks like there's nothing there. It's almost like a quarterback getting out of a pocket. Hudson makes a play somehow. He finds people. It might just be the people around, but he makes the play. At times, Drysdale will go in and there's no play. He doesn't create anything that way. And I think he's got that potential to do it. I thought that might be the unlocking of the power play, a guy like this to come in and do that. But I don't think once he got those wheels going, I think the wheels upstairs have to go as fast.
Yeah.
To make a play to create. Now, in his defense, there weren't a whole lot of playmakers around there to send it to. But Michkov is there now. I mean, Zegras is there. You have to find some sort of chemistry that goes on, and then it becomes intuitive, like the hockey IQ, as they say, to go with the wheels. The last thing you want is, I guess there's certain players I say that they're fast, but they're going nowhere fast. Mm-hmm. You don't need that. No. You want to be able to go fast and think fast and make that play. And I think that's where Drysdale, that's where the kind of the plus is going to be, making plays like that, feeling more comfortable with your teammates. That's why it sounds ridiculous, but that's why I think having a close-knit group, even that trio, you see what happens with Sanheim and the tri. Yeah. So you might have this. You don't want factions in a locker room. That doesn't work. They all get along. They're all, it's a pretty tight team. But you want stuff like that, kind of guys that kind of push each other that way and kind of pump everybody's tires up. Doesn't always come from the coach. Sometimes it's your teammates.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tight team. It's you can tell already chemistry is building. I think Talkett's a big reason for that. So
you're interviewing Talkett too, right? For the first show.
I am. I'm excited. We're going to lunch on Monday. We're going to chit chat.
Yeah. Ask him if he misses his hair.
No, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be the first question. If anything, I'll say Al told me to ask you. You're not going to do that to me the first interview.
It'll be fun. It'll be a fun year with him. He's got a pretty good staff going there. It's going to be a really different type of a year with Talkett. Not to diminish anything in the past. I think Torts put in some good things here. Even guys that kind of bristled under it. I think some of them became better players because of it. And now we'll see if we can take the next step with these young guys coming in.
Yeah, that's the hope. And that South Philly sauce and Audacy Original brought to you by 94 WIP and Jack Daniels. We'll see you next week.